What's going on, everybody? It's Rec Talk here. And, I had to come on because there's no running from it. If you saw round one of the backyard brawl, I got beat pretty handedly by the Tennessee man, Squidtard. And I was thinking about what I was going to say because I know people are keep refreshing their phone to see, what I have to say about it because I'm that important. And I was going to come on here and say, I had evidence of him cheating. He was reading my inputs, but no one would believe that from a Tennessee fan. They don't have that kind of technology. So I've got to come on here and take my medicine. Sometimes you try your best, and your best isn't enough. And it's not an issue of heart necessarily, or will. It's an issue of talent, and I didn't have it. I was overconfident. I probably hadn't cranked up the game in 6 months. I played a game before the stream, and I'd watched some of his streams, but I was overconfident. I had my head out in front of my skis a little bit. Kind of like Tennessee was, when they hosted Georgia State. And they took that L. So, I'm kind of extending an olive branch, because I know that the Tennessee fan can understand that. They understand what I'm saying. They can really empathize. I'm even wearing a Tennessee color shirt, just to pay some homage or homage. I don't. Who pronounces the H? Do you or don't you? Who knows? It's a mystery. It's a great mystery. So yeah, I did. I don't remember the final score, 2 or 3 scores, and maybe I was a little delusional, I might have been kind of delusional, like Tennessee fans are every offseason, like when they told everybody Nico was the second coming of football Jesus, they can understand that too. And I tell you what it makes me think of. When I was in high school, I grew up in the mean streets of Winder, Georgia. And it was tough. And this is actually a true story. I'm actually not making this up. My senior year, they had a kid who was 19 basically go undercover for the police department. And he posed as a student to try and figure out who was selling drugs in the school. And for a full semester, he gathered his evidence, and I came into the weightlifting room, and they were just kicking in lockers, and they had the German Shepherd, the drug sniffing dogs out, and they ended up arresting 9 students that day. Now, what is the point of me telling you that? Drugs are bad. It really doesn't, it doesn't connect to my loss at all, but I did want you to know that drugs are bad. And, thinking of it, I would probably rather get horribly addicted to methamphetamine, because at least you can just hold up in some abandoned building somewhere, like Tennessee fans do in the off season. And no one really has to see that. You're not supposed to see this. It's a pretty low moment for me. But at least you can kind of keep that private somewhat. What I did was public. 50 people live saw that. And I can't undo that. And I'm trying to move up in life. I'm in Smyrna, Georgia. I'll tell you how rough it is out here. I just saw a Porsche go by. There's not even anything custom on it. It's all stock, and I just feel really bad for that guy. I hope he can move up in life. So what I'm coming on here to say is that I'm gonna start training today. I've bounced back and forth with my weight. As a matter of fact, this is also true. I am not making this up. After I got off the stream last night, I ate I don't know how big this size is, but a tub of Bluebell ice cream. Now, I've never been diagnosed as lactose intolerant, but I'm now 100% sure. I had suspected before because I stayed up all night assaulting my toilet, which is probably the lowest point in my life after the loss to Squidtard. So I'm going to start training. I'm going to start running in the mornings. I'm going to start eating right. And, we never agreed to not use performance-enhancing drugs, which are really drugs that are okay for you. The only drawback that I can see from like Tren, anabolics, stuff like that, is it shrinks your balls. But, luckily enough, and I'm not saying that I'm going to do it 100%, but luckily for me, my balls are so big that if they shrunk a little, it would actually make things more comfortable for me. So, like, what I'm saying is that's always an option. I'm specifically going to work out my thumbs. I want to have the deadliest thumbs that I can possibly have. And I'm going to show up ready whenever we play next. I plan on doing this every other Friday, alternating off of college football weekly. So I'm going to put in the work. I want to say I'm sorry, to all the Rec Talk fans that had to watch that, and I just want you to know it's being addressed with performance enhancing drugs. So I hope you all had a great 4th of July. I love all you guys. Happy birthday to America. And I'll see if I can manage these mean streets of Smyrna. Y'all have a good one.